Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into this week's edition of the Auburn Live Recruiting Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. And if you're not a member of that site, now it's an absolute perfect chance to do it. $4 for $10. I'm sorry, 4 months for $10.
Whoa!
I wish whitetail bucks were that cheap,
$4.
but they're not.
Hey, I'm telling you.
Hey, got a great show for you today, man. We got some things to talk about. I'm joined as I always am. I'm Mr. Jhead, Mr. Cole Pinkston. Fellas, how about you?
How about you, brother?
All right.
I told my wife who cuts my hair, give me the Jhead.
Oh,
Go ahead, brother. I hear you.
Is that high and tight?
High and tight, baby.
It's just a little fade to it.
I didn't go quite that far, but I'm almost there with you, Jhead.
I hear
I
you.
love
Cole.
it.
I hear you.
Hit me with the J head.
There you go. Hey, we can show those cuts off together when we do our when we get together for the spring game, fellas.
Oh, good stuff, man. Hey, we've got visitors coming back to campus. Auburn's practice is underway under Hugh Freeze. Before we get to all that, I had a bunch of people ask me who could sell their homes for them, and I've got just the person for them, Jessica Andrus. Hey, give Jessica Andrus a call, 334-704-4442. Quick update, folks. Jessica has transferred. She entered the transfer portal. She was recruited heavily by the Talons group. Went on an official visit maybe 6 or 7 days ago, announced her commitment, and has recently signed. So she is officially a member of the Talons group. And folks, that makes it even better for anybody looking to sell their home or purchase a new home. Give her a call, folks. 5-star realtor, 334-704-4442. She is with the Talons group.
What's that NIL deal, though?
That's a nice little ad there.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, courtesy of the instructions of Mr. Zach in the back.
Hey, there you go. Give him a plug. That's for sure.
Big dog. All right, folks, if you weren't listening earlier, Auburn's football practice under Hugh Freeze has officially begun. The Tigers took to the field Monday this week. They returned on Wednesday. Wednesday was the first day that the dead period had lifted. Recruits could visit. Auburn didn't waste any time. They got Joseph Phillips, the 4-star linebacker / Jack, on campus again. He is from Booker T. Washington down in Tuskegee. Cole, I had a talk with him afterwards, and you'd been high on this kid's character. Forget about his football player. Forget about him as a football player. He's a freaking stud football player. Dude, it was my first more of an in-depth conversation. He was awesome.
So, yeah, you believe me now, Jeffrey?
Yes. Cole, he even called me back to say thank you.
Yeah. Wow.
He was very impressive, man. If you guys didn't if you guys missed that story, he came up yesterday. We're recording on Thursday. He came up yesterday, Wednesday, to Auburn's football practice. He spent a lot of time. I thought this was the interesting part with Ron Roberts, who he says, and this may have been common knowledge, but I didn't know Ron Roberts was coaching the Jacks.
Yes.
So, I mean, I had an idea that he might do that, but when I was in the viewing window for practice on Monday, he was with them full time during the part we saw. So he was doing fundamentals with them, and I was like, he was getting hands on and all that, and I was like, yeah, there you go.
Well, nice. It makes sense, right? You got Josh Aldridge handling the inside backers. You got Jeremy Garrett on the defensive line. Who the hell is going to coach the Jacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ron Roberts.
There you
Ron
go.
Roberts, Joseph Phillips, 6'3", 220 is what I think you've got him listed at, Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Spent a lot of time with Ron Roberts. He went to the meetings. He did everything. He said he did everything. He got a full view of the practice process, is what he called it, and was very intrigued, very enthusiastic about his feelings towards Auburn. He did as he, I think, Cole, he told me, he said, I had planned on doing it, making a commitment at the end of March. I've now decided I'm going to wait and take some official visits.
Sure.
And then make a decision definitely by the end of the summer, because I want this done before my senior season starts. And go talk to us about this guy. I haven't watched his video.
That's new news, I would say, because when I talked to him, he said, hey, it will be at the end of March. Talk to his coach. Yes, he will be ready. But his coach is like, but, we haven't seen all these places. And I made that clear then, and I want to make that clear now too. Hey, he's got a lot of places to see because why? He's only been to Auburn, really. And he lives right down the road. That's a place he's been several times now. Now another time where he got a more in-depth look that he was actually wanting on junior day, to be honest, that he didn't get. So he came back on the first day he was able to. Again, he can get over there whenever he wants to. He's got all these other schools that are knocking down the door trying to get to him. So, yeah, I think it's a good decision for him to move it on back, go see these schools, and then make your decision after you get a good look at everybody. But, again, you know, gut feeling says going to be hard, maybe hard to beat Auburn here.
Auburn's definitely the team to beat. I walked away from it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't – I put the prediction in. I feel confident about it right now. I've got no reason to change it. Maybe I change it if he's just blown away by one of these schools, but it just seems to me like everything that I've learned about him, he could be Auburn's to lose.
Jhead, do you like him at either one of the positions, inside or outside?
I prefer him on the outside at the jack. I think he's a natural there. In fact, on the board the other day, I comped him as Marcus Washington. If you're an Auburn fan, you'll know who Marcus Washington is.
Number 82.
Yes, sir. And he played at Auburn at around 6'3", 245. I would expect Joseph to probably his frame to fill out to be about that, where he's 6'3", maybe on verge of 6'4" now, probably playing north of 240, even 250. Very impressive looking athlete, a guy that could, in high school plays at wide receiver, also plays outside linebacker / defensive end for his high school team. Natural pass rusher, got really good change of direction. And me and Cole both talked about him on the show before he was ranked, and we thought he was a 4-star.
Yep.
Now that ranking has caught up industry-wide. It's not just On3 that sees him that way. It's On3, it's 24/7, it's Rivals, it's everybody. And Auburn, from the very beginning, has treated him like a priority target, regardless of where his stars were. They've been on this kid and on him early. So I'm with Cole. I'm inclined to say, look, we were on this kid before anybody else. Cadillac Williams was the first big Power 5 school to offer him. I think Josh Aldridge and Jeremy Garrett have done a fantastic job of recruiting him, and now he's starting to formulate a relationship with Ron Roberts. And it's always a little different when the coordinator is kind of like going to be your position coach. You get that little extra, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a little extra special feeling for the kid to know, hey, the DC is going to be coaching me up, the guy that knows he's the architect of this defense. He knows the ins and the outs, and he's going to be the one on me every day. I think the quote from your story was, he's like my high school coach. He's going to be on you on the field, but he'll love you up off the field. And I thought that was a really telling comment. You guys are right. He's going to go visit Georgia, Texas A&M, Tennessee, maybe Alabama. I think those are the schools that are in the mix. Clemson, but you got to like the way Auburn's positioned themselves here to not only get him on for junior day, but now for a second visit. And my guess is you'll get him back again before the end of the spring, if I had to guess.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, he's coming back for A-Day. Did you say that? He's coming back for A-Day, and then he'll be back in the summer for an official visit. So at least 2 more is already set. He hasn't set the dates for his official visits, but he'll come to Auburn for an official visit. I feel fairly. He didn't say that, but I feel fairly confident that. Yeah. That's. So Wednesday, he was the lone visitor that we're aware of at the practice on Wednesday. Friday is going to be a little bit bigger of a group. Some of the guys that we have already confirmed: 4-star defensive back Ricardo Jones from North Side is that Warner Robins?
Yes.
Georgia. Egan Boyer, the big offensive tackle from North Carolina, is coming down for his second trip in the last 6 weeks. He was at the big junior day in January. He'll be back for an unofficial visit Friday, and then he's already locked in his official visit for June 16th to the 18th. I think he told Keith. Malik Blockton, the defensive lineman from Pike Road's coming down. Tevis Metcalf, the defensive back from Pinkston Valley's coming over or down. And then Jordan Floyd.
Really like that kid.
Yeah, man. He was
Jordan Floyd from Brad Lester's
Parkview. Yes, Parkview.
Several guys over there at Parkview.
Those guys. I'm guessing he'll be one of the many guys there. Speaking of Joseph Phillips and visits, first of all, Keith Niebuhr, who's usually with us, he's on assignment there in Tampa, Florida. I think he's at Tampa Catholic checking on some kids. I know several of those kids that have Auburn offers have already planned visits to Auburn this spring. He's going to get us some updates on those guys. But want to back up a week. last week, Cole, where was it the Under Armour?
Yeah, in Carrollton, Georgia. Jordan Floyd, the guy you just mentioned, who doesn't have an Auburn offer yet from Parkview, big offensive tackle guy, looked pretty good to me out there. He's a guy that I know Auburn is just keeping him as warm as possible, and I think an offer could eventually happen there. And if it does, I've had a long conversation with him. I think he would be very interested because he keeps coming back for a reason. I put it that way.
Yeah. Who are some
man,
other guys from Parkview, Cole?
Another guy there was two other guys from Parkview. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think Mike Matthews, 5-star, is from Parkview.
Yes.
5-star receiver, has been offered by Auburn in football and basketball.
Dual sport guy.
I have no idea what position he plays in basketball. I'm assuming guard. Two guard. Okay, which would certainly help Auburn basketball right now.
He's not the 5 like you played back in the day, Cole.
No, he doesn't get down.
Cole was the 5 on the Prattville Baptist Church League.
Yeah, I hear you.
The Upward Fraser Church League.
Oh, there you go.
Hey,
all right.
I think I led the league in rebounds, but anyway,
Charles Barkley, baby.
That's right. Yeah, he's one, and then Jalen Crawford also goes to Parkview. He's a corner.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of.
4-star corner. That is the first time I've gotten to talk to him. I've been trying to track him down because I know that Auburn views him really highly, like really high, really highly. So I wanted to catch up with him. The dude is really, really into Auburn. I put it that way. If you haven't read his story, go back to his profile on 3. Go read that story. I couldn't, it was hard to put into words the way he responded when we talked about Auburn in person. And this is a big group setting, so this is not one-on-one like some of these are, but he kind of lit up. He was like, man, they are really – I love the way that they're recruiting me. Everybody is. Etheridge, McGriff, Roberts, all these guys. And I knew he was a priority going in, and that just confirmed it. So he is definitely a top guy. I think Clemson's in the mix.
Very much.
That. Yeah, it's not going to be an easy pull for Auburn, but they're definitely top 2 or 3 in my opinion.
Those were who else did you walk away from that combine?
Justin Green.
Oh yeah,
Justin Green for sure. That's a guy that I know also Auburn is really high on for probably the jack, I would say. But he might actually grow into a defensive end 5 technique because he wanted to. I thought it was interesting. They were doing the offensive line, defensive line one-on-ones, and I got some clips of him. I'm going to share those in the next couple of days. He lined up at edge. He won his reps at edge, and he said, all right, I'm going to go down here at 3 technique and go against a guard. He won those reps. So this is a guy that can do a little bit of both. We always try to make a comparison. Maybe Colby Wooden is your guy. You can slide in and out, do whatever you need him to do. And Auburn's in the thick of it, man. Once again, they're definitely in the thick of it. I think they've made a big move with him at Junior Day, truly.
Wow. I think Jeremy Johnson has something on him today. He's coming in. I don't think he's set a visit yet. I mean, he's going to visit, no doubt. I don't think he set a date yet. Jhead, did you want to touch on some folks coming out of that combine?
Absolutely. And you guys talked about the top 2 that were on my list as far as guys when I'm kind of reading your stories and making my own thoughts about, what are guys really saying? What are they actually saying about Auburn? But Jalen Crawford and Justin Green were at the top. Beyond them, Cam Coleman, who had a very impressive day. And obviously he has shot up the prospect list here on every recruiting website as far as his profile goes. Inside linebacker Bradley Shaw, who's a high-end target for Auburn. It seemed like he had a pretty decent day. And then defensive tackle Jeremiah Beeman. All priority targets for Auburn, all guys that seemed like they had a good experience at the Under Armour camp and got good reviews. And then, Cole, I really kind of want your opinion. There were 2 3-star gems that not a lot of people are talking about, but I think after their showing at the Under Armour camp, they may start to get a little, a few more bites at the apple, and that's Tevis Metcalf and defensive tackle Terrence Hibbler. I know you had a piece on him today.
Yeah, and I'm going to have more on Terrence because I talked to him last night, and that was another fun interview because he's all about Auburn. Actually, I think Auburn's the only visit he's had scheduled for a while now because he texted me a while back. This was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he said, "Hey, I'll be at Auburn March 25th." I didn't even have to ask him; he just did it. I was like, "Wow!" And then he's like, "Hey, reschedule for the A-Day game." Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he's just volunteering this information.
Yeah, man.
Those are the ones those are the ones you put a little asterisk beside.
Yeah, like okay. I really
they're interested.
That's a good gauge.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good gauge. I asked him why he changed to A-Day. He said, "Well, I mean, because there's going to be a lot of people there. It's going to be lit." I was like, "Okay, I like it." And that'll be his first time going to Auburn. He's never been there before. So, yeah, he's the 3-star. I was surprised because I actually had never looked at his ranking. I just hadn't paid attention to it, honestly. And then I watched him, got some video of him. I said, that guy's good.
Yeah.
And he's a 3-star. It's like, interesting. Well, Auburn doesn't really view him as a 3-star. They view him as much higher than that. At least he tells me that. And I think that's pretty true, too, from checking around. So, got to watch 100%. Terrence Hibbler. Tevis Metcalf, it's kind of hard to watch the receivers and DBs because it's so fast and there's like thousands of guys running routes and it's hard to catch all the guys. But he caught my eye one time because he's just pretty physical, I guess that kind of comes with the name Metcalf, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Obviously, there's some history there with that's his brother, right? DK?
DK's his second cousin.
Second cousin. Okay. So there's some history there with Coach Hugh Freeze. I'm still trying to learn about his recruitment, but as a player, he won the MVP, won the MVP of the day for the DBs. So maybe Auburn starts to crank it up with him a little bit too. I wouldn't be surprised by that.
He is currently a 3-star.
Yep.
5'10", 180.
Yeah. Not a big guy. Not a super big guy. He's kind of solid though. I'll give him that. To be 5'10", he looks, and 180, he looks to me like he's pretty solid. So I think Arkansas's a big contender there.
And that's where his brother did sign. His actual brother did sign with Arkansas last year.
There you go.
Who's his brother?
TJ
Metcalf.
Yeah. He was a 3-star in the 23 class.
Yep.
Okay. We had a question today on the Corner Auburn Live on 3's message board. I think it was from North Georgia
Tiger.
Oh, yeah.
Jhead, walk us through that. I thought it was a very interesting, obviously some good talking points in here for us to answer.
Absolutely. And this is kind of dovetails into what we did last year, which are kind of 5 names to know at each position. And we'll probably get back to that at some point. But I thought this was a good way to kind of break back in. But he gave us a laundry list of guys. I've kind of trimmed it down some on my list, but I'm interested to see where you guys are. Of inside linebacker, I deviated from. He had a laundry list of guys, both jack and inside. I think we could talk about inside linebacker today, and then maybe save the jack position for another time. But 5 guys, and I've got them ranked, I think, as far as how I perceive their recruitments as potential guys that we can land. And I've got them from 1 to 5 as far as where they fall in that hierarchy. And number 1 on my list is D'Angelo Barber. I think he's an Auburn-type kid. I think he's a really good inside linebacker prospect. He's now ranked as a 4-star, I believe, with On 3, as well as another site. I'm not exactly sure which one, but a guy that's a little on the smaller side or shorter side, not smaller side, but on the shorter side, but really good sideline to sideline speed, plays the game the way it's supposed to, very physical from the linebacker position. Number 2 on my list was Bradley Shaw, inside linebacker from Hoover. I think that we're going to get some he's a kid we've been on for a long time now. I have no idea. The competition is going to be stiff. Alabama's in there. Georgia's in there. Several others are in there. But I think if Auburn were to push here, he's a guy that we could have some success with. Xavier Hamilton, as a kid from an inside linebacker position. I think that Auburn's got a really good shot at it if we push. I'm not in love with his game because I think he's a little slow to react, but that doesn't make him a bad player by any means. It just means that he needs to be coached up some when he gets to the next level. DeMarcus Riddick is the prize guy. I mean, he's obviously top of the board. If Auburn could land him, he's a game changer. I don't know right now if we could flip him from Georgia. I think he grew up a Georgia fan. That's going to be a really tough one to pull. But I think Hugh Freeze and Josh Aldridge are giving it everything they got. That's for dang sure. And then last on my list is a kid, an interesting prospect out of South Georgia, the Brunswick area, Devin Smith, a guy that we're recruiting that could play jack. He could play the inside spot. He's got some position versatility to him. And in fact, Cole, I know you've talked about it before, but even on his high school tape, they've got him lined up. It's like the deep third safety at times.
Yeah.
Making plays in the open field. So a really interesting guy. But I'd be interested to hear your guys' top five. Who do you think we're kind of in line with, or who's in play at the inside linebacker spot?
When you say spot, remind me again, guys. There's going to be in base defense of Ron Roberts. There's going to be two backers.
Yeah, two inside linebackers.
I would just consider
two inside backers.
Consider it like a box linebacker and then an edge. To put it in, shorter terms like that.
Well, I think you're going to have three linebackers if you're talking that format, Cole. So you're talking two inside guys and then a jack.
Yes.
Who can drop back and give you a 4-3 or rush and give you the 5-2.
Right. Yeah. And if you move into a dime look, one of those guys is going to come off the field.
Right.
But,
okay.
Right. So your Mike and your Will basically is what you're looking at.
There you go.
Yep.
Cole, you go.
All right.
I will.
So these are the five. Let me just make sure I got the question correct. These are the five guys we think Auburn's in the best shape with.
Yes, in the best shape with. Now, he also asked us, who are your dream five? I don't want to devote. You know what I mean? I don't want to get a list of 5-star guys that have no shot at coming to Auburn. So I'd rather keep it with the realistic targets.
And he said there were two questions. Out of the following group of linebackers, and he listed several, which 4 linebackers would you take if you had your pick? And then secondly, where we stand today, what 4 do you think Auburn has the best chance of signing? He listed Riddick, Miles Graham, Bradley Shaw, Sterling Dixon, Joseph Phillips, Jordan Burns, Jamonte Waller, D'Angelo Barber, Ashton Woods, and Xavier Hamilton. Now, from what I'm learning from you two guys is that some of these guys are not really eligible for that position, the inside linebacker spot? Or is he counting them all 3 together? Are you saying it?
He's counting them all 3 together. Like Jamonte Waller to me is a jack all the way. Joseph Phillips is a jack. So take those guys off your board. Of the ones that he listed that are inside linebackers to me, let me get to that question.
Here's what I was going to say earlier. But, linebacker to me in this class, there's a lot of freaking good linebackers, man.
Very much so.
And that's just in Alabama and Georgia. There's a lot of really, really good linebackers in this class.
And it's a position that we have a serious need at as well. So it's kind of some really good timing there for
Perfect
us
timing
when you're looking at replenishing the cupboard. But guys that are inside guys are Riddick, Graham, Shaw, maybe Sterling Dixon. I'm not exactly sure how this staff use him. Cole, you would know better than me. Barber and Hamilton.
Okay. All right. So out of that group, this is, and I'll put them in a ranking. I'll say this: the first guy I say is the one most likely.
Yeah,
Auburn has the best shot with. Mine is the same as yours. DJ Barber is number 1 for me on that list. I think Auburn's got the best shot with him. Next, I'm going to go with DeMarcus Riddick.
Okay.
For number 2.
I like it.
And the only reason I'm not going with Xavier Hamilton there is because I just don't know where he sits on the board. That's my reasoning there. I know that DeMarcus Riddick is take him no matter what. It doesn't matter if we have 18 linebackers, we're taking that guy.
I'd agree.
So he's number 2. Xavier Hamilton would be number 3, just because I think if he got the green light, I feel like Auburn would probably have a really great shot with him. Number 4, It's a toss-up to me between Miles Graham and Bradley Shaw.
Okay.
I lean towards Auburn having somewhat of a shot with Miles Graham. Me and Keith have talked about that a little bit because his dad is such good friends with Cadillac, and Miles is actually from the Atlanta area, same school that Damari Austin went to. Can't think of the name. Woodward Academy.
Yes.
And there's a lot of ties there, and I think there's some things that are working for Auburn in that situation. Of course, if his dad really wants him at Florida, or if he really likes Florida, he'll stay at Florida. But I'm watching that program a little bit. That should be interesting what happens with them down the line here with this class. If something happens, does he change his mind? Does Auburn come into play? Maybe. That's why I think he's on the list. So I guess number 5 would be Bradley Shaw.
Okay.
That's
I feel like something tells me Bradley Shaw maybe leans more toward going out of state. Don't ask me why, just a gut feeling.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain that.
You've talked to the kid, Cole. I put a lot into guys that actually have conversations with kids and kind of their overall appeal or their overall feeling. Whereas you would think proximity to home and Hoover would play to Auburn's advantage. When you talk to a kid, sometimes you just get the feel of they just want to do something different, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
Hey, for me, I really only have 2. Cole D'Angelo Barber.
Yeah.
He's the guy I put an asterisk beside next to, because
definitely.
Just like Hibbler. Is it Hibbler? Is that right?
Yeah. Hibbler.
Mm-hmm.
Hibbler. That's what I said. He has been initiating contact with me to keep me abreast of his plans with Auburn.
Yeah.
I like Auburn there if, in fact, he is a take, and I don't have any reason to think he's not. Cole, I'm kind of like you, dude, with this DeMarcus Riddick guy.
Oh, 2 of you. I hear you.
I don't know why, but I feel a lot better about him than Miles Graham. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I would agree with that. And that's why Graham's not even on my list.
No, he would be at the very bottom. Xavier Hamilton, Auburn could get him if they wanted to. I got that feeling.
So on Riddick, real quick, Jeffrey, just like I get the feeling that Bradley Shaw may want to look around and sort of get away from home, it feels to me like Riddick maybe doesn't. That's the vibe I got. That, things change weekly, hourly,
sure,
with recruiting. So I haven't talked to him in a week now. Maybe
next week we might say, no, Auburn's not going to flip that guy.
Right. But the feeling I got when I talked to him about a week and a half ago, there's some pull at Auburn because, hey, it's right down the road, and I really like where I live currently, and like that. I like the feel over there. That's to me more than anything. Yes, the relationships are good, all that stuff is good, but the feel, sometimes that wins out, and you got that going for him at Auburn, I think.
And he will be back. He did tell me he doesn't know when, but this spring he will be back.
Yes.
I don't think we've locked him in for a date yet.
No, he didn't have a date when I went to see him the other day, but he said he's coming back for sure, and he was going to take an official visit. So,
Sterling Dixon,
No,
Jhead.
No.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I think the kid's a tweener to begin with. I'm not in love with his game. I'm not trying to criticize him by any means. He's a very twitchy athlete, but
yes,
to me, he's got tweener written all over him. I would rather avoid those type players in this class. And I think he's solid with Alabama.
Now he was the D-line MVP at the Under Armour camp. Sterling was, and for good reason, because he won all of his reps, and he did so with quickness. He gives the head fake or whatever, and the guys are not prepared for that at these camps. But don't get me wrong, this is a really good player, Sterling Dixon. He's just smaller and quicker, and these camps are built for guys like that, especially at this stage.
That's what I was going to say, Cole. When you put pads on, it's a little bit different of a game.
Sure.
When the offensive line has an opportunity to really put hands on you.
Right.
And my concern with him is his weight and the ability to play on the outside at the next level. I don't know that he diagnoses and does the things he needs to do from an inside linebacker position at this point for me to have a high grade on him.
Right.
And this is not me trashing because he's committed to Alabama. This is just my honest read of Sterling Dixon, the prospect. And once again, he's a fantastic athlete. For everything I know, he's a great kid. But I think that Auburn's got their eyes on other players, and I don't really have him that highly on my board.
Right.
Fair enough. I thought that was a good question. So
Yeah.
we'll put North Georgia on there. Coming up, what are we looking forward to in the future? Auburn will practice Friday. They will take off the next week for spring break. I still think there's going to be a couple of visitors trickle in and out during the week. Amir Grimsley, I believe. Is that his name? Jameer Grimsley.
Jameer.
Yeah, and he's actually from Tampa Catholic, correct?
That's what I was thinking.
Yes. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if some teammates weren't with him. There was another guy, Amir Hall, maybe.
Amir
Jackson. Amir Jackson's supposed to come in next Wednesday, no practice, and then Jameer Grimsley on Saturday, no practice. Those two guys we confirmed during spring break. Auburn's not going to do a lot in spring break because these guys, since being hired, have not had any days off.
Right.
So I think Hugh Freeze was pretty adamant about, hey, man, take some time, be with your family this week. Let's come back refreshed and ready to go on that March 13th week, because March 13th, this is one of the days that I'm loving right now, guys. March 13th, two guys coming from Arizona. You got Casey Poe, the interior offensive lineman, coming from Texas.
Yes.
You got Dylan Hipp, the tight end, coming from Arizona. And then a guy I just confirmed with, I think earlier today, Jacoby Hobson, who is he's a 2025 kid, but if I'm not mistaken, he's like one of the top. He's a top 60 player in the 2025. He's the number 4 safety in the 2025 class. He'll be coming in, and I'm sure that list is going to grow. And, of course, that April 8th A-Day game is going to be impressive. We've already Cole, you locked in Isaiah Autry. How about Jared Smith?
Yeah.
The edge. That's the number 5 overall or number 10 overall player in the country in 2025. Joseph Phillips is coming back. Jeremiah Beeman. Braylon Burnside told me he's coming. Well, of course, Walker White's going to be back for his second visit of the spring. He doesn't know when his first one is, but it will be soon. A lot going on, man. Auburn's still at 3 commitments. We don't have anybody on the horizon, as far as, the announcements coming up. We know Jamarian Fat Burnett. He's kind of been a roller coastering. I'm keeping my eye on Martavius Collins, who told me earlier today that he will be at Auburn for multiple days, multiple practices this spring. I'm guessing one practice and maybe the A-Day game. He has not set those dates. But he's certainly a guy. He was on Walker White's 14 most wanted list.
Yep. They've
been communicating indirectly or directly on Twitter. Certainly a guy that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. I guess we all will. It's not like I got some hot take here on Martavius Collins. Let's see. Anything else, fellas? Because it's going to start picking up probably after next week. When you get halfway through that spring and April is on the horizon, I feel like before April 15th, Auburn's class will have doubled. I mean, that's not much. I'm going from 3 to 6.
Right.
Egan Boyer, maybe.
I kind of like the two that you mentioned the best, Jamarian Fat Burnett and Collier, but that's just because those are the two that that we're comfortable with and that we know about. It's hard to say, but you're right. It's when these kids start going on their high school spring break and they get an opportunity to come down here to Auburn for a couple of days and spend time with the staff. Sometimes kids just pop, right? Like they just, you know what I mean? It works that way. They get the kind of attention, they get the feel for Auburn that they were looking for. This staff is obviously doing things behind the scenes from a recruiting standpoint, as far as either getting kids on campus or keeping them warm. So it's kind of a little bit of a moving target for us right now. But I don't think you're wrong to say, Jeffrey, that it could double or be close to either 5 to 6 guys to have that expectation rolling into, coming out of spring.
2 to 3 commitments. A week after, because everybody, if you're going to commit on A-Day, you're actually going to wait a couple of, you're going to set up an announcement or you're going to release it on Wednesday. Although you may have committed to the coaching staff on Saturday, you're probably not going to announce it immediately. The days of I'm walking out and I just committed, those days are over. But hey, last thing for this show, one guy on each side of the ball that if you could put your little genie and make it happen. Give me one guy on each side of the ball in this class that you would have sign with Auburn?
Oof,
The only reason I'm
you.
posing this question is because I know what mine are.
I got my 2 right now.
I got my offense. Let me think about defense.
Let's start with offense. Cole, we'll start with you, and then we'll come back around to you. Give you some time to think about defense.
Cam Coleman. Easy.
Easy peasy.
I was thinking, and I think I said it on the live show right after the reason I was 20 minutes late to the live show is because I was on the road back from the Under Armour camp. And I think I said on that, he's a 5-star if I've ever seen one. And then he gets bumped to a 5-star. So that was awesome.
Yeah, Jeffrey broke that news live on air.
Yeah.
So much for that embargo. My bad. Hey, I said it was just a guess.
There you go.
An educated guess. Yes, Cam Coleman to me. And listen, I like the big uglies, man. But honestly, right now, guys, at this point in this recruiting class, I have no idea. If you said you can have any offensive tackle in the country that's Auburn's in on right now, I don't know who it is. I don't know who the 5-star offensive, who is that guy? I don't know.
Maybe Daniel Calhoun.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's probably the guy.
Jameson
but to
Riggs.
me, look, offensive line is a need. Don't get me wrong. It's a need in every class.
Mm-hmm.
But Auburn needs an alpha dog on the outside.
Yeah.
Hugh Freeze is on record as saying, hey, I love big receivers and the catch radius. They give you an advantage in the way the game is played today. Cam Coleman is an alpha dog, guys.
He's a game.
And he's mine. I'm gonna let Jeffrey pick somebody else, but that Cole, you stole mine right there. That's
that was mine too.
Yeah.
That was an easy one for me too. I mean, it was like Cam Coleman.
I don't know. You got Walker White.
You already got Walker White in the boat. Now I'll give you one. Who's the running back out of Mississippi?
Oh yeah,
Hill.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a freak.
If you're going to take Cam Coleman, I absolutely would take Daniel Hill. He is a freak show athlete, Cole. I mean, I think he is extremely dynamic. If you could get those two guys in the same class, whew.
Hey, Cam Coleman was mine. Zach in the back jumped in and said, if you can't get Cam Coleman, give me Jamari and Fat Burnett. Zach in the back, come to the front. You like Fat?
I do. Auburn's got a history of developing good running backs. He's got the size. He's got the production. I think he can be that every down back. And, man, I like what we have right now in the running back room, but looking forward, I think he can come in day one, contribute, and be a 2-3 year starter for Auburn.
Okay.
He's got some Rudy Johnson to him for sure.
Yeah, nice.
What do I know? I judge these kids more on their recruitments and how little or lot of stress they put me through as a person / reporter. And this dude's like, commitment coming soon, and he means 4 months from now.
Yeah.
Like how many times you got to rewrite that story?
Yeah. I'm committing soon, or big news coming soon. Well, when is it? June 17th, man. But and there is a bonus to getting Burnett, right? Because
very much so.
2025, my guy right now on offense would be Alvin Henderson.
Yeah,
mine would be Ryan Williams, but I hear you on that.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with either one of those.
How far you guys have seen Perry Thompson? Is he even in the same group as Cam Coleman?
A little bit different.
I'm not as high on.
He's an inside guy, right? Or is
he's an outside guy.
Okay.
He think if you're trying to make a comparison, and I don't know if he's going to be that good, but Seth Williams would be more of your comparison, bigger body guy, big catch radius kind of thing.
To Perry Thompson.
Yeah.
The Alabama commitment.
Right. That would be your closest.
Yeah. Hey, I will Alvin Henderson or Ryan Williams in 2025. Just toss the quarter and tell me which one I get.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, they're both really good. I'm partial to Ryan just because I've seen him play more. Alvin's fantastic though. I mean, look, I'm not. He's a game changer.
Yeah, I'm going with Ryan Williams. I think Ryan Williams is the Cam Coleman of 2025. if not better.
Yeah, I think
Just from what I've
unofficially he clocked a 4.3 at the Under Armour camp at 6'1", and just was absolutely. I mean, it didn't matter who they put on him at the camp. He was basically unguardable. You know what I mean, or unable to be covered.
Yep.
Okay, back to 2024. We've got our offensive guys. Cam Coleman seems to be the consensus here, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Cam Coleman's consensus.
Defensively, Jhead.
I'm going to go with DeMarcus Riddick because of the position of need. That's my guy. Now, I'm typically a line of scrimmage guy, and my default answer is typically it would be Jeremiah Beeman, but because of the need at the linebacker position, I'm kind of elevating DeMarcus Riddick.
Who would you take, Cole? Jamonte Waller or Jeremiah Beeman?
Beeman.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think's the best front four guy on the board right now?
Probably. I'm thinking of guys that are close. You know,
and you can throw in a Jack in there if you want.
I think Beeman. I really do. I think that guy's awesome. He's a good player.
You think he's dominant?
Yeah, I do. He was dominant in the game I went to, and he plays for Parker High School. They played Clay Chalkville, and as you know, Clay Chalkville is loaded, right? 6 or 7 2024 Division I guys.
With McCroy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, McCroy plays on that offensive line. Jeremiah Beeman had his way all night. Controlled the line of scrimmage. I mean, the score of the game was 7-6. That was the final score.
Ooh.
They were not moving the football on either side. And on now, Parker's got a couple guys. Jordan Crawford's another one, and he was good at the camp. But Beeman, he played every position, and he played every position well, even the edge when he rushed the passer.
Do you compare him to Deron Reed?
I think Deron Reed might be – yeah, that's pretty good, actually. That's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah.
I think Deron Reed had a little bit more I can take over the game right now about him when I saw him. But Jeremiah Beeman can do it in a different way. You know, I watched Deron Reed create a couple turnovers to get their team back in the game. It was no problem. Like, we need a big play right now. Okay, here comes Reed. You know, Beeman was more, you're not running on us. And he does. And if you saw him in person, you'd go, that's an inside guy, kind of lean.
Yeah.
But he weighs 270. And it almost looks like he weighs 235. You know, kind of like Falk in that way.
Well, my guy on defense would be the absolute best slobber knocker on the line of scrimmage. Like that's what I want on the defense line.
You're a D-line guy all day long.
I love a good defense line.
Now,
I love a great defense. I love a dominant, just a big dominant dick in the middle, right?
You like Derek Brown.
Yes, Nick Fairley, Derek Brown. Yes,
Tell you what, a guy that Auburn seems to have a shot with that could be that guy, and I haven't seen him as much, is Camarion Franklin from Mississippi.
Yeah.
That's a guy to keep an eye on for sure. He's supposed to be coming in. I don't know if I added him or not, but I checked with him earlier this morning, and I think it's it might be A-Day.
Okay.
But he's coming. He's coming.
Yes.
But yes. So Cole picked me out of defensive lineman. That's my dude. Jeremiah Beeman for right now.
Yeah,
Jhead, do you have a nominee?
So for defensive line,
yes, sir.
Those two are really high up on my board. The Rush kid from Pascagoula is also high on the board for me, and Justin Green is high on the board for me.
Yeah, Justin Green,
because I see him projecting as more of an end. I question his fit at the edge. Like, I know that they're telling him that we're recruiting him at the Jack, and I know when they go to more of a 4-down look, he absolutely can play that spot. But to me, I think we're going to be more odd front than even for the most part in this defense, and he fits as an end to me.
This could be a Wilkie Denard situation.
Yes, very much so. That's exactly the way it feels to me, and very similar body type.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned him before. Now, Joseph Phillips is high on the board for me from a Jack standpoint.
I considered him.
Yeah. But Jamonte Waller is a freak show on the outside. Yeah. If you put on his highlights, guys, you walk away from that and you wonder, okay, if you could land him and Phillips in this class, you're talking about a shot in the arm to your pass rush. And those two guys can absolutely get after it.
Same with Terrence Hibbler. That's a guy that he can play too, man.
He can, and he gives you some position versatility. A guy that can play the nose, or he could play the 3 technique. He could slide around on the interior for you.
I learned this weekend he can definitely play the nose too, which I was.
Oh yeah,
I didn't realize.
Yeah,
that.
He's the one guy I think that we have a real shot at that could be your nose in this class, Cole. Like I don't know anybody else on the board at the nose position.
Right.
I've got a big dog defensive lineman. Cole, who was your pick?
Keith Niebuhr.
Yeah, Keith Niebuhr. 100%. Beeman. I'll go with Beeman.
Guys.
And Riddick. Zach, jump in here and give us your defensive guy, and then we're going to go to Keith on site.
So Cole kind of took my guy. I would go Beeman just because of his versatility to play inside and out. But if I had to pick an edge, Dylan Stevenson's growing on me. I think he's got some potential. This kid was an All-America, 20-plus sacks down in Florida. I don't know how good of a shot Auburn has with him, but if I got to pick someone just to be in the class with our needed edge, kind of Jack, I think Stevenson would be my guy there.
I like it.
Good pick.
Good stuff. Keith Niebuhr there on site at Tampa Catholic, if I'm not mistaken. Keith, we're going to you live.
It's a little loud here. I just interviewed cornerback Jameer Grimsley. Auburn offered him in the last month. 6'3", 190 pounds. He's going to visit Auburn in a couple of weeks. But I got a special guest. I'm not the special guest. I got a really ugly special guest today.
Hey.
Auburn receiver Jairus McIntyre.
I see Jeffrey Lee on there.
What's up, big dog?
Pinkston, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Eagle, brother. Good to see you.
I'm going to ask him one question, and I'm going to actually let him do his job that they're paying him to do out here. So Hugh Freeze was recently here.
Yeah, he was.
Came by, met all the kids here. Yeah. Just kind of what were your initial impressions? You're a former Auburn player. You're also a prominent coach. What did you think of Hugh Freeze? Get in here.
Sorry. It was great, man. It was great. He came by. We chopped it up for a while. He offered four of our kids. So I have nothing but great things to say. I think he'll do a great job, and I look forward to this fall.
And Jairus has a really good team. 4 of his players, thanks, Jairus. 4 of his Coach McIntyre, 4 of his players have Auburn offers. Jameer Grimsley, who's like I said, going to visit, and I'm going to have some intel on him in the next couple of days. For a cornerback, receiver Terrence Moore, that is 6'3", 195. 38-inch vertical leap.
Love that kid.
Freak, right? Very good player. And Hugh Freeze actually, by the way, just FaceTimed him in the last couple of days. Auburn's working hard to get him on campus. And then Xavier Porter, a defensive lineman, and Eddie Pierre-Louis, an offensive guard. He plays tackle here. And actually, the game I went to last year really had a great game against 5-star edge Keon Keeley, who signed with Alabama. But I think of those 4, the 2 to really watch are Grimsley, the corner, and Terrence Moore, the receiver. So
Keith, you had reported earlier, I think maybe last week or so, but Jameer Grimsley, maybe it was Cole, one of the two you guys.
I didn't report much, yeah.
had him penciled in at least for a Saturday visit next Saturday, I believe, March 11th.
Yeah, something like that. He thought it was like the 13th. He couldn't remember the date, but that's probably what it is. But and Jairus McIntyre may go with him. Look, he's real interested. He's got a lot of people coming after him. Look, right before Auburn offered him, an hour before Bama offered him. I mean, so he's got a lot of people. Guys, on January 1st, he had one offer, and it was Rhode Island. Okay, he transferred in from another school. So that's kind of like when we tell, Jeffrey, you've done it, Jhead, Cole, we've all told subscribers and listeners that the board shifts. I mean, things change, man. Guys that you were hot and heavy on 6 months ago don't get any better. And new guys emerge. And this is a new guy that emerged, and let you watch the practice field out there. By the way, Jairus was teammates here with a guy named Chan Tatum, now known as Channing Tatum.
Oh,
I know him as Mike. I went to I'm from up Mike's way.
XL.
He's from Coleman, Alabama. Channing actually grew up in Coleman before I think moving to Tampa.
Yeah, he finally got somebody knock some sense into his family. But I'm kidding. No,
then he met McConaughey. Started some
I promise you.
Everybody knows I love Alabama, but the state of Alabama. But Grimsley, yeah, that's a guy that's moving up a lot of boards. And
Unranked guy right now.
Hey, Jeffrey, he's 6'3", 185 to 190, and he told me he runs track. He's doing track right now. One of his events is the 100, his best recorded 100 time. He says sometimes they tell you stuff and you look it up and it's not quite what they said, But he said 10.89. That's pretty good, okay, for a guy his size. And then here's one other thing: he also plays receiver, and so he takes those ball skills to defensive back. Right? I know Jhead likes that. Now, why didn't he get a lot of attention? He just got here. He transferred from Bloomingdale, which is, I think, believe it or not, another connection. That's where Aaron Andrews went to high school, at Bloomingdale, which is about 20 minutes. Can you talk? 20 minutes.
What position does he play?
Yeah, 20 minutes east of Tampa. So, Auburn's got some real traction out here. The kids like Hugh Freeze. We'll see. I mean, this is a school that's been very good to Auburn historically. Jairus, Nate Craig Myers,
Devin Barrett.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Devin Barrett.
It's
Garner
really
Langland.
I mean, I know I'm in Tampa, and I'm going to let y'all do the rest of the show, but the Auburn logo is still strong in Tampa, and it has been for a long time. There's a lot of kids. One of my friends used to work at Tampa Holy Names, which is the girls' Catholic school, and then there's two big boys' schools here now. He's at Tampa Jesuit. He says you'd be amazed how many people want to send their kids to Auburn from Tampa. So, and I think that goes with the football guys too. They like it when they get up there. There's some similarities. Tampa's a big city with a small town feel, kind of, and Auburn's a small town. So, I mean, it makes sense to me. So,
Keith, is he being recruited as a corner or a safety?
Yeah, he says corner or safety, and some schools even like him at receiver, believe it or not. He said Ole Miss is recruiting him at receiver, and we know what Ole Miss has done with those big, tall receivers. So most of his conversations have been with Zach. Hey, Jairus, Grimsley, more corner or safety for Auburn? Corner.
Okay.
Ask Jairus if he can still outrun Cadillac.
Can you Jeffrey Lee wants to know if you can still outrun Cadillac. I don't think so.
I don't either.
I ain't gonna try it either.
I hear you on that.
So from this, I'm gonna have a 3-2-1. I'm gonna steal Cole's little feature, and then I'll have another update with Grimsley, and then I'm gonna do a story on Jairus, just talking about as a guy. He's got a unique perspective.
Absolutely.
Former player and a prominent high school coach in Tampa. So he's, what does he think of Hugh Freeze? And I'll just give it away. I mean, I said, what, is he the right guy for the job based on everything you've seen so far? Yes. And that's a guy who, fans, he played at Auburn. He's a diehard Auburn guy. I mean, he is Auburn through and through, Jairus McIntyre. There's very few people more Auburn than him. Maybe Jeffrey, but that's about it.
That's my blessing is War Damn Eagle.
Jairus has been so good to all of us through the years, so we all happy to see his program becoming, such a prominent place down here in Tampa. So that's it.
Good stuff, Keith. We appreciate you, big dog.
Anytime, guys. We'll talk later. See you guys.
Have a good one, Keith.
Thanks, guys.
Fantastic. On the spot reporting there from Mr. Keith Niebuhr.
Yeah, getting Jairus McIntyre, one of my all-time favorite receivers. Had a really big senior year. What was it, 2003, I think?
Mm-hmm. I've never seen anybody make Cadillac Williams look so slow. You remember on the Go Crazy?
Yes, they come streaking past him.
Jairus had to slow down and be like, "All right, cuz, let's go." I'll never forget that about Jairus McIntyre. 81, man, one of my all-time favorites. His father, Cedric McIntyre, what did he play? He played a running back, I believe, at Auburn. Is that right?
I think so. I think that's right, Jeffy. Yeah, I need to look that up though, man. Yeah, I can't place it 100%.
McIntyre. I don't know how to spell McIntyre. Auburn running back, he was born in 54, so in the 70s. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Dang. So he is Auburn through and through.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, man. Let's get some how about yous and let's wrap it up, man. I know people's ready to get back to work. They've been listening to us on their lunch break, and they just can't wait to get back in front of that desk or get back in that assembly line and get back to work. We apologize for that. But anyways, all right. How about you this week? I've got several. I don't know why. I just felt like the board's been a little bit better as we got closer and closer to spring practice.
Yeah.
So, what else? What do y'all got?
I got North Georgia Tiger.
Okay.
Nice. I have two. Number one is Contos. He's got some numbers, but I can't remember his numbers.
Conto's 32 or something like
32, yeah. It's a picture of Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Every time I see it, I just think Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, yeah. So Contos, and then my second one is at Zach McKinnell.
Oh, Zach in the back.
Hey.
Man, I was late getting to the call-in show because I was coming home from Carrollton, and Zach filled in, man, and I watched it in my truck on the way here pulling in. I was like, I hear you, Zach.
He did fantastic.
Great insight.
He really did.
Absolutely.
Jhead.
North Georgia Tiger.
Oh, North Georgia Tiger times 2. All right,
there you go.
let me get to mine. How about the AU Civil? Somebody said something on the board about, I don't know, being an asshole or something, and AU Civil posted a picture of a mirror. I lost it. I think it was Coochie.
It was.
It was Coochie. Oh, I love me some Coochie. At MTV.
Cut that out.
Coochie Rabbit. Go Coochie. At MTV Tiger 72. How about you to Trey Moore 03? How about you to Bowen Arrow for just the name alone? His last, I'm guessing his last name Bowen, or his first name is Bowen, and he put Arrow at it. Bowen Arrow. I like it.
Bowen Arrow. Yeah, he's got a good music selection.
Okay, all right. How about you, Bowen Arrow? How about you to Richard MWDE? How about you to Luke AU? How about you to Junius? Hey, guess what, Cole? How about you to Contos 32?
Yes. Times 2,
Squared.
baby.
There you go. How about you to BBP? Because he recognized how great my next one was. How about you to Crawdad, man?
Oh, yeah.
And his call on Sunday night on our call-in show, fantastic stuff. BBP giving him some love. How about you to Wardam 23? How about you to Papa Woody, who's almost become a regular on my How About You list? How about you to ODWB? How about you, Big Dog? How about you to Snobby Jogger? Now, Snobby Jogger dates back to my time with Rivals, and there was this girl in the neighborhood, just as sweet as she could be. Her and her husband both. Just talked to him the other day as well. And so I'm driving through the neighborhood. I just had a conversation with him at like the pool and stuff. And man, kids are great. Oh, nice to meet you. All right, whatever. And then I see her running down the sidewalk, and I was like, hey, remember me? She's like. I was like, whatever. And then I saw her hubby the other day. I thought I'd bring her back in the mix. How about you to Snobby Jugger? And then my final how about you of the day, news today out of Auburn was Joe Bernardi. How about you to Joe Bernardi?
Yes.
New offensive line coach at Troy. I'm a huge Bernardi fan. Always have been since I met him back in 2022 when he came to Auburn as the analyst. I thought he was a rock star then, and most people that knew him knew he wouldn't be an analyst for long. He was the interim tight ends coach, I believe, after Harsin was fired for Cadillac, and then went back as an assistant offensive line coach to Jake Thornton. Dude was very instrumental in Auburn's 2023 offensive line class. That transitional period, he held it together. Was a big reason that Auburn was able to hold it together, and was named Troy offensive line coach. So big how about you to Joe Bernardi.
Absolutely. Yep. He deserves it. Troy's a really great program underneath John Summerall right now. I think their previous offensive line coach just got hired by the Houston Texans, which shows you that he's hired a quality staff down there. And, he sees Bernardi in the same way we do if he's adding to his staff with him. So really great to see that guy get a chance to be on the field and to run his own room.
Good stuff, man. Hey, great show, fellas. We appreciate it, man. We thanks to everyone who was listening. Thanks to everyone who watched. We appreciate everybody. Again, Auburn Live on 3's got a special going right now. 4 months for $10, $250 a month, man, for the next 4 months. Can't beat it. It's like a cute puppy. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody. For Jhead, for Keith down in Tampa, for Jairus McIntyre over there, for Cole, for Zach in the back. I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay out of that left lane. See ya.